Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Out of Boston, and today I'm back for episode number 50 of the Pirates franchise here on MLB 17, the show. So today, before we get into the offseason video, I wanted to show off a graphic I made for the batting stats and pitching stats for last season, because I seem to always forget to show these, and then I end up starting the postseason before I remember to record what the stats were, and I don't get to show them off in the video, and then I just completely forgot to go over them in this video when I recorded the live comm, so I'm showing them off right now. You can see there the best years we got were Marte with 6.2 WAR and Sanchez with 6.6 WAR. We also had Justin Turner with a 5-win season, Palanco with a down year at 3.2. And pitching-wise, we were led by Jacob deGrom and Masahiro Tanaka, the two Cy Young contenders. deGrom did have the better FIP and the higher WAR, but Tanaka won the Cy Young. And then we got good years out of Alvarez, Cueto, Keller, and really our entire bullpen pitched pretty well. Diekman didn't really do that well for us down the stretch, but his peripherals were good all year. Today we're back. We've got the offseason coming up. The Dodgers defeat the Tigers in the World Series. Let's advance to the offseason here. Hitting coach. We're going to need to replace or re-sign. What? Juan Cabrera retires. Are you serious? That is really dumb. For poor free agent market, I would have re-signed you. Oh my god. And Tony Watson retires. That's not completely unexpected. Some pretty big names retiring. Max Scherzer probably going into the Hall of Fame. Look at that run. His run is so impressive. Just the consistency and the durability. Like, I think the most underrated part of Scherzer is his durability, in my opinion. Greinke retiring. Some pretty big names. Pujols and Markakis to the Hall of Fame. Okay, so Nick Markakis makes the Hall of Fame over Max Scherzer. All right. Cool. Probably shouldn't have simmed all the way for it. All right, we got guys to re-sign. First thing I want to do actually is deal with my hitting coach. Let's see. This guy, Kevin Kaufman. I think Kevin Kaufman is who we had as our hitting coach. Yeah, he is. So we're just gonna re-sign him because I've been pretty satisfied with him. And then as for these contracts, so we have a team option on Johnny Cueto, and I don't think we have any other big free agents. What about Justin Turner? Turner is also a free agent. Derek Law is a free agent? Okay, that's a big one. Law and Melanson and Palanco. Okay, I was mistaken. We do have big free agents this offseason, and Osuna. So lots of guys who are eligible to hit the market. Let's deal with some of these guys first. So Vigna's got 3 years left. He's not really going to get $9 million, is he? For this year alone? Oh my goodness. This is his first year of arbitration. So we could re-sign him. Might do 2 years, 18, and then leave ourselves 1 year of wiggle room to re-sign him before he becomes a free agent. Gary Sanchez is a free agent in a year. He's got 1 more year of arbitration left, looking for $6 million. And coming off of another solid season. Now we have a guy who was formerly a top 50 prospect, now has been dropped down a little bit, but Mark Kimball, this guy we drafted a couple years ago, and he's starting to develop, now 20 years old, 6'5", still a couple years away. Like, I think it'd be ideal to sign Sanchez to like a bridge contract, 2 or 3 years almost, and then have Kimball take over from there, because Kimball definitely feels like at minimum 2 years away from being a starter, and maybe even 3. So it's kind of a tough situation with Sanchez, because we could try to get him like on 3 years, $13 million. This isn't a contract he would really sign in real life, I don't think, but it would be more than the $6 million that he's getting this year, and I think we're gonna have the money to do it. But I'm gonna evaluate my free agents before I invest any more money into Gary Sanchez this year than I already have to. Alvarez, he's another kind of guy, so he's got 3 years left. Same situation as Vigna. Probably do 2 years. Could we get $16 million? He's not going to be the ace. So let's do 2 years at $18 million to make him happy. Barrett Boyce, we also want to lock up if we can. He's got plenty of team control left. He's contract renewable, so we can get him back for cheap. Let's get him on. I want to give him a little bit of money, so let's do $800,000. He's probably not going to be the closer. Sorry, Barrett. So Cueto's team option is $12 million. He's coming off a pretty good year, and we could. Now, there's usually good starting pitching on the market, and we have 4 starters. So we could just go let Cueto go to the market, and then he'll probably be available for even less than 12 million. So I am just going to decline that team option, give us a little bit more money to work with. I don't think, yeah, we're not going to. So he's like only looking for 8 million a year now, so we're not going to tender the qualifying offer. Polanco wants 13.4 million. That's not a lot of money. That's a pretty similar contract to what we gave Starling Marte. Now he is coming off a down year, only 3.2 WAR. The hitting wasn't actually like that much worse than it had been the last couple of years. You see the last like 3 years building up this, he's been pretty solid at the plate. A little bit more power, I guess, but at the same time, I wonder if it was the defense or the base running this year, but the ratings don't really seem to indicate it would be that. So maybe we try to get him for 4 years at like 52 million. For 50 perhaps. 4 years, 50 million, that's 12.5 a year. And we get back, you know, one of the pillars of our franchise, a guy who's been here for a while. A guy that, you know, I do want to keep, even though he struggles against left-handed pitching. He's come through with a lot of big hits, and even against lefties, I'm able to still get hits from time to time with him. So of these guys, I think, you know, obviously I would prioritize Derek Law, who's been pretty good the last couple of years, and is 6 years younger than Mark Melancon. Osuna is even younger than both of them, and he's been pretty good. He wasn't used a lot last year. It's kind of weird how it seems like, you know, last year was Osuna who didn't get used a lot. 2 years ago it was Law. He only got 36 innings. It's kind of weird. Osuna wants 6 a year. Law is looking for similar. So obviously Osuna is younger. If we had to give out that long-term contract, we could also just kind of rebuild the bullpen via trade. Turner will probably let go to market, to be honest. Just because we probably, sure it's not going to be a problem getting him back. And I do want to see what the other options are for third base. Because long-term, that's going to be a spot we have to fill anyway. Diekman, I think I would like to bring Diekman back as a lefty because his peripherals were actually solid last year, and I don't know. I think his ratings aren't bad for 2.5 million to be in the bullpen. 2.3 million. I think that's pretty fair for a nice lefty. Austin Meadows, he's got 3 years left of team control. He's already looking for 8 million a year. Are you serious? You did nothing last year, Mr. Meadows. There's another guy who's been underachieving. Well, you kind of, I mean, if he's going to be this expensive, maybe he becomes a trade candidate, although we don't really have a ton of options for right field if we don't have him. The thing about the team now is we've sort of invested in the guys we have. Like, we traded Miguel Torres, I traded Oliver Wilson to sort of build around the guys that we have right now. So we're not really in the position to move a guy like Gary Sanchez or lose the guy like Gregory Polanco. We sort of have to just maintain this core that we have right now because we just don't have the prospects or the pieces coming up or the pieces behind these guys to replace them if they leave. So we're going to do 1 year, 8 million for Meadows. I'm not going to give him a long-term deal. Keller, he is contract renewable for probably 2 more years, so we can get him. Let's get him for 900K. Eric Dames is a free agent. He's looking for 6 million a year. Probably bring him back for that price. I know he's been declining, and maybe we'll actually let him go to market. We'll see what the first base market is. We're going to have a lot of money and plenty of spots to potentially upgrade, so we could strike big with a free agent this offseason if the opportunity presents itself. Could certainly be that type of offseason for us, especially after losing in the NLCS. It would make sense to maybe reconstruct some of the roster if we are presented the chance, because like I said, we don't really have the opportunity to do it in-house, so perhaps doing it through free agency could be the way to go. Tyler Marlette, he could be an option to start, you know, if Sanchez didn't, or if we traded Sanchez, but I mean, I would want someone a little bit better than Marlette. I think Marlette is a little overqualified to be a backup, but on a really good team, he probably isn't a starter, unless you just have a really good team around him. I don't know, he could be a starter on a good team. It really depends on the team around him, but he's not going to be that great as an everyday player. Rico Guerrero, I'm going to continue to use him in that utility role next year. That first backup. Bill Favre, I keep calling him Brett Favre. Bring him back. He could be the second lefty in the bullpen if we don't get anyone else except Diekman, because Watson's retired, so we're not going to have that option to fall back on. Richard Feliz is good pitching depth. This is kind of a question whether or not we will bring back Adam Frazier, and maybe we will. I'll make an offer, or I'll offer arbitration to him, and at least that way we'll maintain his rights. I think the arbitration is probably going to be like in the 2 millions. I'm gonna offer like 1.9, I guess. But I mean, we have options to replace him. But like 83 contact versus right, he does. It seems like he does get hits when I use him as a pinch hitter. Hit 282. I mean, the offensive numbers were solid. And the strikeout, like, look at the walks, the strikeouts, that's pretty solid. Rustin Castillo, I think I'm not going to bring back. I think we have plenty of depth without him. He's 34 years old, so I'm not even going to offer him arbitration. Connor Gillespie is another guy I'm not going to bring back. We've started to rebuild some of the depth with the infield, like in the last year or so, and I think we're pretty good without Gillespie either. We have guys like Donald Aoki, Jared Betts, among others. Alright, so I gave pretty much everyone contracts. I let a handful of guys at the bottom of the minor league depth charts go, just so that we can re-sign, or we can sign some minor league free agents. So Palanco did not sign yet, and neither did this guy, Bautista. Pretty much everyone else I think we wanted back signed. Yeah, we haven't made an offer to Sanchez yet. We haven't decided what we're going to do with him. I will offer him arbitration for now. What is his 1 million? He wants 1 year, 6 million. So arbitration is gonna be more than that, I think. 'Cause he made 6.3 last year. That makes like no sense to me why he only wants 6 million. Then I'm just gonna offer him 6.5 then. But I'll probably just give him a 1 year offer at some point. Just it's really deciding. We probably have plenty of money. We have 3.84 cash flow. I'd say we have plenty of money to make a big splash in free agency. It's just a question of like, can we bring Sanchez back? Can we bring in another guy? Can we re-sign some of our relievers? What's first base gonna look like? Like, there's a bunch of different questions. All right, let's look at free agency. Oh my goodness, Lindor is available. This guy's freaky good in this. What is his WARs? 8.4, 8.5, 7.7, 7.7. He's looking for 30 million a year. And we do kind of have the money to splurge on that kind of guy, but I don't know. We already have Esposito. I guess we could move Esposito to third base. Look at the infielders available, and Freddie Freeman. Freeman is 32, coming off of a monster year. He might be the best hitter available, just pure hitter. But Lindor does have that. He has 99 contact versus right, 95 versus left. Freeman is looking for. See, I would rather just get, if I'm going to pay 30 million, I'd rather just get Lindor than Freeman, I think. Correa is also available. Correa is probably not as good as Lindor, but he's like literally still really good. Look at these last 5 seasons. He hasn't had lower than 6.6 WAR. He's looking for 30 million. So many guys about, and Seager is only looking for 18. He's a left-handed third base option. Pretty good the last 3 years. Very good the last 3 years. Holy smokes. His defense is still really good, isn't it? Trevor Story, 40 home runs each of the last 2 years. OPS in the mid-900s. What's his WAR been? Oh my god. 7.7 and 9.3 after that trade Colorado made. That was the, they traded him for Esposito, and then we traded Crawford for Esposito from Colorado. So even though all these guys are still available, I still like getting Palanco at the price we can get him. It looks like it's less than Schwarber's going to get. And just looking at corner outfield options, I mean, I guess theoretically we could move like an Esposito to a left field if we signed 2 infielders, but then we'd be splurging on 2 big contracts for infielders, whereas I can just get Palanco back for even less than a guy like Seager would make. Other outfielders available though, like Christian Yelich. I guess he would be one guy who could replace Palanco theoretically. He's been really good the last 2 years. He's not looking for that much more than Palanco, but meh, I'd rather just keep Palanco. And I'm just going to quickly go through and snag some minor league free agents if I see ones that are enticing. I basically just look for the guys who are young, like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And see if they have, even if they have low potential, if they have good ratings like this guy, Alejandro Vasquez, look at his contact rating. Like, that's worth snagging. He immediately becomes, like, half-decent depth, because even if his ratings improve just a little bit, and look at his speed, too. Like, if his fielding just improved a little bit, he would be, like, solid 4th outfielder potential. This guy's B potential. He's 22. And there are plenty of guys deep down here. I mean, you don't need to sign all these guys at center field, but probably try to sign a couple infielders too. Oh yeah, like look at this guy. Look at his hitting ratings, and his defense isn't bad. There's always good shortstops, I swear. Oliver Wilson was available to us. Rico Guerrero, Jorge Calabaro. I thought I re-signed this guy. This guy's kind of interesting. Raul Mondesi, he is a free agent at second base. He's never really hit the ball well, but he's had 6 major league seasons now with Kansas City and New York, and he has really good fielding ratings. He would be like, he plays second base in this game, but he could definitely be a shortstop. You'd probably really want to use him at shortstop with his defensive ratings. I'm not going to sign him. I don't have a need for him, but this guy is worth signing, Brian Vasquez. So first base is a spot that we're going to have to look at with Eric Thames or without Eric Thames. And this guy looks like he could be a potential replacement. Carlos Rubio. Look at his hitting ratings. And his fielding isn't that bad. He really just can't bunt. He's got B potential. So I could honestly look at a potential platoon with him and Robert Woodson. Or even just let this guy go at it full time. Probably I would lean towards just letting Rubio have the job full time. But his ratings aren't quite that good yet. So even maybe if we did get Rubio and not bring back Thames, although Thames I think is probably going to be available for, pretty cheap. And we could even just get Rubio and Thames and have Rubio be his long-term replacement. Maybe have Rubio sit on the bench, but Rubio seems like an upgrade over Woodson, especially considering he's a righty. And there aren't any good catchers available, so probably going to default to bringing back Sanchez for maybe that 2 or 3 year bridge contract that I talked about. And there are some good relievers available. Ooh, I would love to get a Chris Davinsky, even though he's coming off a bad year. He's only 31. He's been pretty good in the past. His ratings are still good, even though he's only an 80 overall. He's looking for a big contract too, though. All these guys are, which is kind of surprising. And then looking at the starters, I don't really see that good veteran option other than Cueto in this year's. I mean, what kind of contract would Vince Velasquez look for? He's looking for like a 5-year deal. James Paxton, he's not the beast that he is in real life in this franchise. So probably look to bring back Cueto if we have the money. But I'm going to prioritize making a big run at a guy like Francisco Lindor. Perhaps we could go 8 years. I don't even know how much money. This must be $30 million a year. They're over $30 million. Be up to 31 is pretty much the max you can do. 8 for 248. 31 million. Is that really worth it? I feel like we have so much money available. Like, we've been able to afford this kind of guy for a while. And Lindor feels like the right kind of guy to spend this money on. So if he takes this is like getting a super mega star, 99 overall. Just like look at his last 4 seasons. If he does, this for the first 4, 5, 6 years of that contract, like, it's gonna be so worth it, I think. And we get a great defensive shortstop like we had in Crawford. We can move Esposito to third base. It's a switch hitter. It's like I don't really see the downside, and it is like in a video game. I feel like there is less downside to it. That the client probably couldn't come quite as quick as it could in real life. But there we go. Lindor accepts the deal. Let's see. Christian Yelich signs with the Red Sox. There's Lindor. 25. I guess it must be a pretty backloaded contract, so maybe he only gets 25 in the first year. But that's pretty awesome. We get Francisco Lindor. Wow. I told you we could get a big splash in this free agency. So let's move him to third base, and we'll do second base, shortstop for his backup positions. And his overall increases to a 95. So he's still only a B potential, but his hitting ratings the last couple years, like, obviously I think he's turned himself into one of the best hitting infielders. And now we have 2 guys with stirrups in the infield, and we have Diego Vina. Our infield is pretty stacked, minus first base. And then it's really just a question of can Austin Meadows break out? Like, other than that, our lineup is pretty much set if we bring back Sanchez. So what money are we looking at now? I don't think we need to make a splash with, although we do have the money to do it. I don't really think we need to sign 2 guys. So I think we're just going to probably bring back Thames and try to bring this Carlos Rubio in. But I think Thames is going to be available for pretty cheap for the rest of free agency. I don't see his market really opening up at any time. So it's really just a question of what pitchers do we want to bring back? What kind of contract do we want to give Sanchez? We could do 2 years at 11.7 per year. And that gives Kimball 2 years. He probably is going to be in like the upper 70s in 2 years, I would say. So maybe we do a 3-year deal. It needs a little bit more money. If we do a 3-year deal, it does give us the potential to use him as a trade chip instead of just letting him walk in free agency. So I think a 3-year deal is the way to go. He's 29. Maybe even a 4-year deal, make it really worth it for him. It's a little bit more money per year, but probably carries more trade value if we sign him to a bigger contract. Plus, I want to make this worth it for him, not just make it a short-term deal. So 4 years at 58 million. Could we get it down to 56 perhaps? I think we'll probably be able to get that done. But I would guess that he becomes a trade chip again in a couple years. So our infield is good. We're not going to do anything other than let Austin Meadows. We're going to give Austin Meadows another year in the outfield, I think. I don't really see good. I mean, I guess we could have made a run of Yelich if we wanted to, but we're already spending big in this free agency. So I don't really want to spend too much more money on a long-term deal because I want to keep that financial flexibility that we really always had. So it looks like the best get in this free agency is probably going to be Melanson because he doesn't really seem to have much of a market. He was really good last year. We could bring him back for $5.2 million probably. And then Iglesias is another guy we could possibly bring in on a 1-year deal. He was with the Yankees last year. But his market looks like it's only, 1 year. So 1 year for $7 million, I would do that. And then there's Osuna. Osuna is looking like he's going to get more of a long-term deal. And I don't really like investing multiple years into relievers like that. Osuna does have that 98 hits per 9 rating, which is pretty damn good and pretty hard to beat. So I think I am going to maybe splurge to get him back because he's been really good. And if we give him a bigger role, I'm sure he will be fine. Maybe we do 3 years for $20 million to be the closer. And I'm probably going to actually withdraw my offer from Iglesias if I get Osuna back. So if I get Osuna and Melanson, then I'm looking at a bullpen of them with Barrett Boyce, Jake Diekman, Rene Velasquez, and then probably Bill Farr if he would be that second lefty. I think he'd be that last guy. Maybe Felix Jorge. We could also give this guy a chance at the 5th starter spot, Felix Jorge, if we don't want to bring Cueto back. We also have Richard Feliz and Cliff Vinson. We have a few different guys, Steve Watley, and then also some young pitching prospects coming up soon, relatively soon. Maybe these guys are probably a year away. But Elez, he only has 27K per 9 and he's a top 50 prospect. I might try to trade him if his value is that high. So this is one trade that almost works. We would just have to throw in literally anyone else pretty much to do. Eduardo Elez for Andrew Miller, who's had 2 straight kind of down years for Cleveland, which is why I could sort of see them maybe wanting to move him with 2 years left on his contract, add a total of $14.8 million. But Cleveland is still a pretty good team, and without him in their bullpen, they don't really have anyone, so maybe they wouldn't do that. So these are the offers I have out to guys. Let's skip forward a few days and see if anyone signs. Osuna does. Leo Bautista, Derek Law goes to the Angels. Iglesias signs with the Tigers for $7.2 million. Melanson signs with the Rockies. That's a little bit of a surprise. Freeman to the Nationals. That's a good signing by them. That's going to help their offense a lot. Could see them in the playoffs once again. So now we probably need to trade for a reliever without Melanson. We could get Xavier Cedeno, who's been pretty good the last few years, but he's aging now, 35 years old. And honestly, I'd probably rather just go with Bill Favre over this guy. He's the second lefty. But even with Bill Favre, I think we're going to be a guy short right now. If you put Keller in the rotation and one other guy, yeah, we would need Favre and one more. So we probably are going to try to trade for a reliever. And I just realized Diego Vina is going to need a new number because Lindor is number 12. He could change his number, I guess, but because Vina has been here, and he was the guy who got drafted and brought up, so maybe he goes to 20. He can't do 21. I gotta think of a good number for Lindor. All right, I think maybe number 2 will work for Lindor, and we'll have to give Rico Guerrero a new number. Yeah, I can't believe the game is letting Guerrero keep number 2 over Lindor. Come on, Rico, get it together. So one guy we could look at bringing back is Johnny Cueto. He would solidify that rotation a little bit more than if we just kind of plug in that 5th spot with some of our minor league guys, a rotation of our minor league guys. But, we do have a little bit more money to spend. I'm just looking at the free agents. And there are, Michael Franco would be kind of not a bad option at first base. There's still Eric Dames, who, yeah, doesn't have any offers yet. I'm probably just going to wait to see if his market ever develops, and maybe we get him back for even cheaper. I really, really want this Carlos Rubio guy. Probably offer him a little bit more money. It's even, dude, like, I'll give you 120,000, a whole 120,000 if you want. And we also need to think about fourth outfielder. I kind of forgot about because Juan Cabrera retired. So there are always good fourth outfield options. It's just a question of guys who actually want to come and play as a fourth outfielder rather than like a platoon player. Joey Rickard wants to play every day. Michael Taylor maybe could be. Michael Taylor, Adam Eaton. No, he wants to be a platoon player. Eaton? Come on, man. I know Frazier would be good coming back as a fourth outfielder. So I think I am just going to re-sign Frazier for $2.4 million since we have the money to do that. And let's make an offer to Cueto for 1 year, $8 million in the rotation. Actually, let's even do 1 year, 7.5. And Cueto accepts that. Correa goes to the Rockies. Wow. And wow, Gregory Palanco signs with the Cubs. He got a better offer for, wow, $68 million. That's big. So I did not expect that to happen. Maybe should have kept a little bit of a closer eye on that. Oh, that's too bad. I really wanted to keep Palanco, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. So we'll definitely have to look to trade for an outfielder now because we don't really have. Could go with Rico Guerrero, but I mean, I don't know. We probably just have to look at a trade now. I mean, the other option would be, so we have a little bit more money, I guess, now to spend. We could splurge on. Could even bring back like Turner and move one of our guys to left field like Esposito. That could work theoretically. And Crawford did not retire. He's just a free agent, silly. We could bring him. No, we don't need two more good defensive infielders like that. That would be ridiculous. Play him at third base and Lindor at short. That would be a hell of a defensive infield. All right, so I'm making an offer to Seager. He's going to be my number 1 option to replace Palanco. It's a little bit more money per year than Palanco, but a shorter term deal, and the total money is pretty similar ballpark. Seven more million to Seager than I would have given to Palanco, but he is a little bit of a better player, and he's been very, very good the last 4 years. It's a short-term deal. I only want to do 3 years with him. And if I don't get him, fallback might honestly be Crawford or Turner. And then, you know, probably same thing. Maybe move Esposito to left field. Pollock, he would have been an option to replace Palanco. He re-signs with the Red Sox. Second outfielder they've signed. Other outfielders, if we did want to just go conventional and sign an outfielder, could bring in Cole Calhoun. It's not bad. And Kyle Seager accepts our offer. 3 years, $57 million. So just like that, that is how you replace Gregory Palanco right there. So we're gonna move Esposito to left field. And whoops. And his backup is just gonna be this now. I like how they've edited some of the secondary positions now. It's a little bit better. And now he's a 96 overall. Oh my goodness. So look at this now. We have 91 catcher if he resigns. Well, we got him no matter what next year if we want him. Vina, 95, 92, 99, 96, 92. And what's our rotation? 95, 94, 90, 88, 81. Wow, so this team is going to be stacked once again. We still probably trade for a reliever. But I'm going to wait to do that probably till the end of the offseason. Story signs with the Nationals. Wow, the Nationals are loading up. And man, Story, I was looking at his power. But if we, like Lindor, I just pretty much decided Lindor was the guy that we were going to go after for big money in that free agency class. Because I liked him the most out of all those guys. But there were plenty of good options. I mean, Story would have been a huge power bat to add to this lineup. But I just love Lindor. Like, I'm going to have Lindor and Marte at the top of the lineup now. Probably continue to... I know it's kind of silly leading off Marte, I realize, because his OBP is almost never that high. But just in the games that I use him, I always get hits with them. And even sometimes I can work walks. Alright, so I'm going to up my offer to Gary Sanchez because he's still not budging. We'll go to $58 million for 4 years to be the starting catcher. And there we go, he finally accepts it. We just had to offer him a little bit more. Here we go. Let's see if there are any new free agents. Sometimes guys get non-tendered here. Can be decent options. This Carlos Lozano, I kind of like his pitching depth. He's a lefty. Only a C potential, but not looking for a lot of money, that's for sure. How about 1 year, 800 and... So we were getting pretty low on funds at this point, but this is only a 1 year deal. Let's do 1 year, 840. This Randy Bermudez also got non-tendered, it seems, and he would be a nice fourth outfielder. Only 5'7", but he hit pretty decently last year. So he would be depth, but I'll give you 700,000. And look at this PJ Grubb. This guy's available. He's got good speed. He's looking for... He wants to be everyday player? Seriously? Wow, alright. Probably not going to give you that job there, buddy. This Mike Kuiper seems like a pretty good option as well, because he's got pretty decent hitting ratings. But you're going to be depth guy. You're going to be $700,000 depth guy, my man. Alright, Mike Kuiper accepted our offer, and Randy Bermudez did, so that gives us two options for fourth outfielders. It's the Rule 5 draft. Angels sign Brandon Crawford. I don't think... Let's see, Sean Newcomb. He's 28 now, though. Not really a big prospect anymore. There's some top 50 prospects available. That's kind of surprising. Could take this guy in the Rule 5 draft. Diego Vieira. B potential, 28 years old. Look at the velocity. Look at the K per 9. Then we wouldn't be trading for another reliever. We'd kind of be waiting to do that. I think I'm just going to draft this guy. Why not? So we're kind of putting off trading for a reliever till mid-season if he doesn't work out. But I'm going to give him a shot. Why not? I think we're good enough. Oh, the Cedric Walters guy's available. This isn't my farm system. I probably shouldn't have left him out there, but I'm still going to... Wow, it's Dylan Dietrich. Oh, no, different guy. Is he Derek Dietrich's brother? I thought he was Derek Dietrich for a sec. This is another dude with a good bat. Casey Gillespie. Same guy from the Rays OOTP series. Look at his hitting ratings. Kind of want to take this guy, and then I'd have him and Rubio at first base instead of Thames. But I'm probably not going to do that, even though it's so tempting. This is the guy I'm really tempted to take. An apparent top 50 prospect, 26 years old. But I could slot him in there as the backup infielder. You could play a little bit of first base, too, if he's first and third baseman. We have plenty of positional versatility with a guy like Esposito playing left field, when he can play all the infield positions. So I'm not really too worried about having a guy like that on my bench who can only play two spots. And I didn't even realize this. Carlos Rubio actually plays right field too, so he could slot in as the fourth outfielder potentially. And I could keep him and Woodson on the roster, and Thames, or him, Woodson, and him, Thames, and Gillespie perhaps. But then I would be able to not keep any of my right fielders. I'd have to have like Guerrero and Valenzuela, and then not have Frazier or either of the two guys I just signed. So you can see how just like constantly adding guys to the mix, kind of, I don't know, it can be a bad thing, but I'm gonna do it. Screw it. I'm just gonna do it. Why not? Gillespie's too good to pass up on. His hitting ratings are too good. So that's gonna be it for the Rule 5 draft. Now is where it's gonna get pretty interesting with the roster crunch. I think I still want to bring in Thames though. I don't really trust the first base platoon of these two guys, to be quite honest. To be honest with you. And Gillespie's ratings versus righties aren't even that good, to be honest. But against lefties, they'd be solid. So that's why maybe him and Thames platooning or just having both those guys in the mix makes sense. And Thames got signed. I didn't even realize. I don't know when that happened. So, alright. No Eric Thames. That's too bad. I guess we probably wouldn't have really had the money to get him back. I don't know if we would have. So I'm probably just going to simulate the rest of the offseason. We'll take kind of an overview look of the roster in a moment. This is kind of an interesting offer, but I'd rather have the catching prospect. Kimball, we've already sort of planned out Kimball. You know, if things work out with him, we've sort of planned out how he's going to come into this team and contribute. So, and I do want to build around him. I like Kimball's ratings. I drafted him. He's got sick hair. Got a sick hair and beard combo. Let's just see who's still available. I'm probably not going to sign anyone else, but kind of just curious. Mauricio Dubon. This guy's got good hitting ratings. But I'm probably going to pass on him. Ernesto Valenzuela, we do have to actually sign him. I didn't realize. Give him 90 million, or 90,000. 90 million. This guy's available. Is minor league deal? No. Alright, then we will continue forward. Sim one more day. Now let's sim spring training. Don't care about the lineups right now, or any of that stuff, to be frank. Keep active. So the roster crunch is going to be kind of interesting. we'll have to make some tough decisions. Do we do that now? Yeah, we probably should do that now before we advance to the regular season, because I think that will give us control over it. Wow, Esposito's up to a 97 right now, because apparently he had 10 home runs in spring training. Holy smokes, man! This could be a very good team. Wow, our pitching wasn't that great. Ooh, DeGrom and Tanaka are starting to regress. We need Alvarez to step up. We need Alvarez and Keller to step up this year and kind of show themselves to be the future faces of the rotation, as Tanaka and DeGrom start to take steps back, as does Cueto. He's in 83 right now. He could be, we'll see how he pitches. He could be that could be a big question mark. So I want Favre in AAA to start the year, just because we're going to call him up like, I don't know, 10 days into the season, 15 days into the season, something like that. And then out of our pitching depth, I want to keep Jorge. Lozano's another lefty. He's probably a better lefty option than Steve Wadley at this point. Feliz or Hinson. Probably going to be, well, it's probably going to be neither, actually. At least Feliz has options. And I think Wadley we're going to send down. And then our third catcher, Roitvet, whose name I probably can't pronounce. I'm going to send down Rubio. We could keep down for the first, 15 days of the year. Get that extra year of team control on him. Aoki, we're going to send down. We don't need. Valenzuela, we'll have to keep up. Guerrero. And then, let's see, we have to send 2 of these 4 down. So it's probably going to be, well, it's most certainly going to be Kuiper, even though I do like his ratings. He has very good hitting ratings, very solid. And probably Bermudez, too, to be honest. I'll keep Frazier for now. Bermudez has to go through waivers, though. That might not work. That might not work out for me. Guerrero's up to an 80 overall. Alright, so let's now advance. Hopefully it keeps those roster moves. Like, please don't reactivate. Oh my god, it did. Dude, I can't send Bermudez down now. Like, why does it do that? Now we have one less reliever, I think. Or maybe not, I don't know. Oh no, I guess it's just, it just says MLB, even though it's not actually. Alright, so we're fine then. We're going to have Jorge be that. No, Cueto's going to be the 5th starter. Or the 4th starter. Keller's a 5th starter. Vieira, we wanted middle relief. Lozano, we're going to use a middle relief. Velasquez, too obvious. Velasquez can be a setup man this year. And I think we're going to make... no, we got to make Osuna the closer, I guess. It's probably the role he wants. Alright, and so we will set up our lineups. I don't know why it had... Why does it even have... Oh, I guess this is because we have DH, but I don't know why. Like, it has Seager at first. I guess I sort of see that. I guess we do have lots of... I mean, we're going to have lots of options with this kind of positional versatility on the roster, but this is how I want to set it up for now. With against righties, at least the start will go with Woodson, so I have Rubio down in AAA to start the year. Gillespie, we could start against righties. He still has decent ratings against righties. But probably go with Frazier. I think we'll do this for the lineup. Marte, Lindor, Esposito, Seager, Sanchez, Meadows, Vina. Maybe swap Sanchez and Vina, depending on how these guys do. Against righties, but no DH, it's going to be the same thing, just not at the bottom. We'll have Woodson in there, swap him with Seager, swap Seager with Esposito, swap Seager with Lindor. And then Marte lead off. Lindor second, Esposito, Seager, Sanchez, Meadows, Vina, Woodson. Against lefties, going to be pretty much the same thing. We'll still have Seager in there. This is where we'll maybe use... Yeah, we'll use Gillespie at first base. In for Guerrero. Switch these two. Switch these two. And then Sanchez, Meadows, Vina, Gillespie. Could even... Yeah, we'll do that. Why not? And then no DH, same thing. So this is all set. And then as for the rotation, we already looked at this. So, alright, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for the offseason. So it was a pretty big offseason. We signed Lindor. We got rid of, who did we get rid of? We got rid of some relievers. I think for the most part the team is intact from last year, though. We got rid of Palanco, I guess. We didn't really get rid of him, but he left in free agency, and we replaced him with a Seager. So that was probably the biggest move. And then we also, I mean, that was the second biggest move, I would say, other than adding Lindor. But we, you know, we're still pretty good. Let's see, are we ranked? What's our team ranked? If we look in the standings, we are the first ranked team now over the Dodgers. So we've surpassed the Dodgers in the power rankings, or whatever you want to call these rankings. First in contact, first in power, second in pitching. Dodgers still have better pitching than us. But that's really where you would have to say, like, long term now. We'll probably have to think about adding is to another starter. If Keller and Alvarez don't take steps forward. I mean, it really depends on them. They're going to be two, you know, big factors moving forward. These are our two highest rated prospects, Valenzuela and Elez, even though Valenzuela is not really a prospect anymore. But alright, that is going to do it. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. And thanks for watching. Like I said, let me know what you thought of the offseason as always. And I'm out.